At the St. Mary's Gales, the bye all the way into the semifinals, so they make their tournament debut here tonight, Sean. Meanwhile, Pepperdine already 3 games in 3 nights, 3 wins, upset wins, maybe all of them. Certainly the last 2 big upsets. Can they do it again?
It's a tall, tall task. The first 2 meetings these teams had did not go well for Pepperdine, but this is a different Pepperdine team, mainly because the ball in the hands of this guy, Mo Odom. He's been a star.
And we welcome those of you joining us. Great win for Wofford as they punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament. We're out here in Las Vegas. Dave Fleming, Sean Farnham. Semifinal game number 1 of 2 tonight here at the Orleans Arena. And we have a true, incredible underdog story in this first matchup. Mitchell Saxon and St. Mary's dominated the league in the regular season, 17-1. They're the 1 seed in this tournament, taking on the 9 seed Pepperdine, and the Gales get the first basket of the game.
Improbable run by Pepperdine. Todorovic, who just took the shot, has been great, but Mo Odom, number 5 for Pepperdine, has set tournament records already. We'll get into that in just a second, but very business-like approach for St. Mary's. They have had the same approach almost every single game with how they play. Methodical with pacing. They know exactly where they want to score, how they want to operate.
Now the guy with the ball, the one you were talking about, Mo Odom, has had just an incredible 3 games in this tournament. Truly all-time great stuff. Pepperdine looking for their first basket, and that's a foul against Polis Morauskas, who came in with some help defense, committed the personal foul. And Mo Odom Jr. grew up in the Bronx, started his college career at Pacific in the WCC. This is his first year at Pepperdine, had a good regular season. He has exploded in this championship.
3 straight double-doubles, and he has dominated the play here in Las Vegas so far.
Already has set an all-time WCC tournament record for assists. And this game just started. Saxon deflected his pass, and that's going to turn into a rare Mo Odom turnover.
2 turnovers early, though, for Pepperdine. You cannot turn the ball over against a team like St. Mary's. Because of how they run their offense, they force you to have to fight through so many screens.
Jordan Ross, pull-up jumper is good. Plus, he got fouled by the big man Koulibaly, who's been in foul trouble all tournament long, and he fouls a jump shooter here.
And if you're Koulibaly, you need to make sure that you do not foul in that instance. You can take a foul down low on the block defending Mitchell Saxon, but you cannot foul a jump shooter at the free throw line.
And just to go back to your point about Pepperdine and the turnovers, Ross misses the free throw. You give them credit. 3 great wins, especially the last 2. Oregon State, the 5 seed. Last night, Santa Clara, the 4 seed. This is a whole different challenge here tonight in this one. Todorovic, who's been scoring big time for the Waves, misses that jump shot.
This is 4 games in 4 nights. You know, I don't care how many cold tubs you get into. Fatigue, you have to figure, comes into play at some point.
Yeah, they've been doing all the IV treatments, the ice baths, everything to try to be as fresh as possible. We know St. Mary's is fresh. This is their first game this week. That's how this tournament is structured. Ross stops in the lane, but he traveled. That's a St. Mary's turnover. Well, the guy who's orchestrated this champ week run, Ed Schilling, his first year. That's the thing about Pepperdine. All new coaching staff this season, almost an entirely brand new roster. A 4-win regular season in league play, and here they are in the semifinal game. Pretty amazing. Plus all the adversity they faced on their own campus off the court all year long. It's been a very trying year for the Pepperdine community. Todorovic scores the bucket plus the foul.
I like the fact that they're closing out to him tight, so they want to force him off that 3-point line. A good rip right past Luke Barrett. Get downhill. They try to score in the paint. Try to take a page a little bit out of St. Mary's book and try to get towards the rim and apply pressure. This is not a deep St. Mary's team. If you get some of their bigs in foul trouble, all of a sudden it opens up so much of what you can do.
Chance for a 3-point play here for Stefan Todorovic. And he makes the free throw. The fire's in Malibu. Campus closed, evacuated, students, faculty, staff, basketball team, everybody impacted.
They were practicing at Cal Lu in Thousand Oaks.
Couldn't even get into their own practice facility. There's Marshallonis, the back-to-back most outstanding player in this conference, and he gets his first basket.
You think winner when you think of Augustas Marciulionis. He impacts the game at both ends of the floor. He's tenacious at defensively, and offensively, he is their heartbeat.
Odom drives baseline. Odom gets his first basket of the night.
I asked him, I said, how are you feeling? He goes, I feel like I haven't played a game in 2 weeks. I said, are you being honest or you're lying to me? He didn't answer that question. I love it, though. His mentality. He's got such a great motor, such a great heart.
Marciulionis, that's his second basket in a row.
Augustas Marciulionis struggled in the first two matchups. So when I was talking to Mo Odom, I said, what was it that you did defensively that you thought caused him some issues? He goes, nothing, to be honest with you. They dominated us. He didn't need to have a big game. Tonight, he'll need to have a big game, which means I've got to step up to that level of aggressiveness.
Odom shoots a three. That one no good. That's a pretty honest answer from the young man about how those two regular season games went, because you're right, Marciulionis, the player of the year in the conference, the stats head-to-head against Pepperdine in 2 meetings, very modest.
Well, his worst stats against any team in the conference all season long.
This is a different Pepperdine team right now than they were during the regular season. Ross, baseline pass to Saxon, who was triple teamed and had his shot blocked. Coulibaly then got his hands on it. The arrow does favor the Gales. So that's our first time out here in Las Vegas. The #1 seed getting their tournament started in the semis in an early 8-5 lead against the underdog Story Pepperdine.
The bold Louisiana flavor and crispy crunch of Popeye's signature chicken is the meal your craving deserves. And now you can get 3 pieces for just $5 and make it a meal for only $3 more.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Rain, make it rain, girl, make it.
Apartment 2B?
2B. She's definitely using that Grubhub deal from Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
Amazon Prime member, you can get $0 delivery fees on Grubhub. Eligible orders only. Terms and additional fees apply.
Target made Good and Gather for you, helping you save on tasty berries frozen at peak ripeness, ready whenever you need them. Everyday favorites at unbeatable prices. We made Good and Gather for you, only at Target.
I can get the exact same brand of contacts from 1-800-CONTACTS that I can get from my eye doctor.
Right now, you can save 25% on your first order, plus fast free shipping right to your door.
Touches of black. They say a lot without having to say much. They stand for elegance, refinement, and prestige. Even a little can go a long way. And though they're darker than the darkest night, they make you see everything in a new light. The Kia X-Line Nightfall Collection.
Kia. Movement that inspires.
The players. PGA Tour Live and ESPN Plus Megawatt Trio.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal. Let's build a retirement and benefits plan that works for your team. Here in Las Vegas, Nevada, just off the Strip, a semifinal night in the West Coast Conference, first of 2 games. The #9 seed, incredible story that Pepperdine is even here, taking on the powerhouse this year in this league, St. Mary's. And we haven't said that very often over the years. Gonzaga, San Francisco to follow. The Zags have dominated the WCC for a long time. Dave Fleming, Sean Farnham, great to have you here. They did not dominate this season. St. Mary's, an amazing regular season, 27 wins, 17-1 in conference play.
Well, and they do it so methodically. But this is a team that has the reigning player of the year, 2-time, in Augustas Marciulionis, the coach of the year, and really you think historically, to your point, no team since Pepperdine back in the early 90s has won outright back-to-back titles until this Gales program has done it. They have been so elite under Randy Bennett, and his transformation to this program has been outstanding. He goes and recruits to his identity of what he needs. He was going the Australian route. Now he's gone the Lithuanian route. He just goes and finds players that are tough, physical, and want to get better and want to develop. And Augustas Marciulionis is a prime example of that.
He epitomizes everything that this program is about. Not flashy, not huge numbers, just winning basketball. Randy Bennett, the coach of the year in the conference, not just this year, the last 4 years in the WCC, and his team commits a 5-second violation. So Pepperdine digging deep and coming up with some energy in the early minutes despite playing their 4th game in 4 nights here in Vegas. They get the turnover.
I think it's really key that Pepperdine keeps this game close early to build confidence. In the first 2 matchups, they were working at a deficit. The average margin of defeat was 27 in the 2 games. This is their 4th game in 4 nights. They've got to build confidence so that they know that they can compete with this St. Mary's team.
That's a good point. Some of it is just purely making some shots. A drive along the baseline. Butka. Vitas Butka got cut off. Here's Todorovic. Pulls up for a 3 with a hand in his face, but he knocks it down. I think the offense, Sean, because Pepperdine in the 2 matchups in the regular season against St. Mary's, they scored 50 points one game, 41 points the next game. Total.
It's unbelievable.
They got shut down.
You have to see the ball go through the hoop to have some confidence. Harry Wessel's big body. They just checked in.
They're playing the 2 big men together now. Marcialonis passes up the 3, gets to that elbow area. No. The roll off the iron, but it's out of bounds off of Pepperdine. St. Mary's will keep it.
If this is the first time you watch St. Mary's really good on the offensive glass. One of the best offensive rebounding teams in the country. They do an outstanding job when the shot goes up. They send at least 2, and they've got multiple players with good size to go in and wedge. They try to wedge underneath you and push you out and just try to get a fingertip on the ball. They back tap a ton to their guards.
By the way, the top shot blocker in this league, Koulibaly, just had to check out of the game. There's a foul as St. Mary's entered it into the low block. Something's going on with his foot or his ankle. He's over on the...
His shoe exploded.
Oh, his shoe. So that I guess that's a good sign in that he's not hurt, but his shoe disintegrated. They miss him when he's not on the court. He is a big-time factor for Pepperdine, especially on the defensive end. Shot clock down to 10. Wessel's double-teamed. Here's Luke Barrett, left side. That 3 way too strong.
He hesitated in his release.
How about Butka running the floor? That doesn't happen to the Gales very often.
You have the opportunity to throw ahead, you better. And Pepperdine with a lead. This is exactly, if you're Ed Schilling, what you would hope for.
Marcialonis finds Barrett again. This time he doesn't shoot the 3.
When you make shots, you can set your defense.
Saxon drives. Saxon off balance, but a foul called.
Watch the pass by Mo Odom. I mean, just on a dime. Catch an ability to go straight up with it.
That's what he's been doing all tournament.
You watch him. If you just watched him over the last 4 games, Dave, even the final regular season game, you're looking at this kid going, he's a star.
Yeah, amazing. Just hidden all year on a team that won 4 conference games, was 11-21 coming into this tournament. They lost 5 in a row to finish the regular season, and nobody was paying attention to Pepperdine. Nobody. And here they are in the semifinals with an early lead against the 1 seed and a kid in Mo Odom who's playing as well as anybody in college basketball right now.
We might get all the way to Selection Sunday, and you will talk about players that dominated their conference tournament, and Mo Odom might be a name that nationally we're going to be talking about.
He went right by the St. Mary's defender and gets the bucket. Tell you what, a 7-0 Pepperdine run, and the Waves have announced here in the early minutes that they are here to play for another night in Vegas.
Why does the Magic have to stop in Vegas?
Why? They're 2 wins away from an NCAA tournament berth, which would be one of the most likely in the history of this sport. Ross with a spin move, got cut off. Barrett, wide open 3. That one goes down.
Luke Barrett dominated in the 2 games against Pepperdine, averaging 16 points per game in those 2 contests. Shot the ball really, really well.
And he's a role player on this team. They don't always need big points from him, but if he's open, he needs to make some of those shots. Odom, another 3.
Dave, it was pure as soon as it came off his fingertips.
This guy is red hot. Carrying this team. Has a feeling of it's going to be another fun night for Pepperdine. Saxon down low. Extra pass. Barrett, instead of shooting the 3, gets closer to the basket. That was a good move.
Strong move. Luke Barrett, transfer from Pomona Pitzer, Division III, walked on to St. Mary's, leaves here as a captain.
And a guy who hardly ever comes out of a game.
He's a warrior. He's just tough and physical.
Odom got another look, and he banked it in.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. My man is on fire right now.
Absolutely incredible.
He has 10 of the 18.
10 against maybe one of the best defensive teams in the country in the first 8 minutes of the game. Wessels, that was a tough move. Barrett got the offensive rebound and scores again.
Remember I said Luke Barrett performed really well against these guys? Luke Barrett, an uncharacteristic guy that you're looking to ignite your offense. He's been great.
Yeah, another bucket for him. This time Todorovic got to the rim but missed it. St. Mary's not going to run much. That's just not how they do it. Wessels.
Good hands by Wessels.
That was a good catch, trying to find some room against Foray, who came in for Koulibaly. That's pretty good post defense. Right now, Pepperdine, whatever anybody else is doing, that's great. But the man of the week is that guy.
America, let me introduce you. If you haven't been paying attention, Mo Odom gets to where he wants to, has unlimited range, facilitates the offense brilliantly. He is putting on a show once again in Vegas. It's the entertainment capital of the world. Why not? Let's make it a little more difficult off the glass.
She's definitely taking advantage of the Grubhub deal from Amazon.
That's why I keep running into you.
Amazon Prime member? You can get $0 delivery fees on Grubhub. Eligible orders only. Terms and additional fees apply.
The bold Louisiana flavor and crispy crunch of Popeye's signature chicken is the meal your craving deserves. And now you can get 3 pieces for just $5 and make it a meal for only $3 more.
Chicken from Popeyes.
Target made Up and Up for you, helping you save on storage solutions with bags in all shapes and sizes, so everything has a home. Everyday favorites at unbeatable prices. We made Up and Up for you, only at Target.
I can get the exact same brand of contacts from 1-800-CONTACTS that I can get from my eye doctor.
Right now, you can save 25% on your first order, plus fast free shipping right to your door.
Touches of black. They say a lot without having to say much. They stand for elegance, refinement, and prestige. Even a little can go a long way. And though they're darker than the darkest night, they make you see everything in a new light. The Kia X-Line Nightfall Collection.
Kia. Movement that inspires.
Champ Week presented by Principal in Las Vegas. Another outstanding performance already from Mo Odom. We'll see where it goes. We got 11-17 still to go in the first half. But the 9-seed Pepperdine behind Odom's explosion with an early 3-point lead. This has been a tournament, Sean, that has kind of been defined by big individual performances. Todorovic had the great quarterfinal game against Washington State, 34 points in that one. You and I watched Ryan Beasley on a bad ankle last night have the best game of his career to get San Francisco into the semifinals.
Yeah, I think Ryan Beasley's going to have another big-time performance tonight. But Mo Odom has accounted for 12 out of the 18 points, 10 of his scoring. Then he had the throw-ahead assist. When he starts having that bounce to him, man, he's able to get to his spot. Good scorers understand where they want to get to and how they can score the ball. He's figured that out here in Las Vegas.
And it's the scoring, it's the production. We've also just seen the pure leadership and determination from Odom. He's been in the huddle barking at his teammates. Mikey Lewis in the game for the first time, the 6th man of the year in the West Coast Conference, trying to feed the low post, and the ball was kicked out of bounds.
We talked about this a little bit last night. There is a benefit to having played and been in a rhythm in this arena. St. Mary's has got to find their rhythm. They've been out of rhythm this whole game so far. It hasn't really been any fluidity to how they play offensively versus what we saw during the regular season.
Yeah, it's a good point because, look, this conference tournament is laid out a little differently than most. Lewis catches and scores. That's what he does.
Mikey Lewis is different than every player on the St. Mary's roster. When he checks in the game, you have to understand he has a knack for scoring the basketball.
His best games this year have come in their biggest games. Mikey Lewis, just a freshman from Oakland. Koulibaly's got new shoes. He's also got rejected by Saxon.
8 on the shot clock.
I think we know where this is going. Odom is going to try to get a shot off. Had to step back, and no, not this time.
Just a little bit to the right.
Marciulionis was trying to feed Morauskas, who's setting up down low. He'll get a catch. Polis Morauskas, the newcomer of the year in conference play.
Big on big pass. If you're going to double big on big, you can't vacate the backside of your defense and leave Mitchell Saxon unchecked.
The point you were making about St. Mary's, this is their first game in this tournament. The top 2 seeds get the bye all the way into the semifinals, so they haven't played all week. A little turnaround move from the freshman Danilo Dozic, in and out, no good. Gales on a run. Marciulionis attacks against Odom, and he'll go to the free throw line.
Let's go back to that previous possession, though, Dave. And where I want you to watch is this portion of your screen, because as the ball gets entered into the block, we're going to freeze it right there. You're going to see him hesitate, but then he's going to come. And when he pinches in, this weak side defensive player has to work his way back in. If he doesn't, what you're going to end up doing is giving up a wide open layup. And it was Odom that got caught hugging his man on the weak side instead of pulling over as that ball got entered into the post.
We saw Pepperdine swarm the post the last couple nights against 2 good teams, but 2 teams that didn't really take advantage of that. St. Mary's
will.
I think they will.
Yeah.
Marciulionis makes both free throws. This is now an 8-0 run for the Gales. Just halfway through the first half. Semifinal game number 1. Zion Bethea's made some big shots off the bench for Pepperdine.
And be careful where you pick the ball up. And Todorovic, not a great spot that time.
Extra pass, Bethea didn't shoot the 3. Mikey Lewis cut him off. Shot clock winding down. Todorovic, shot rejected. Then the little throw up as the horn was about to sound. Out of bounds, though, off of St. Mary's. Good effort by Pepperdine. And they'll get 20 more seconds on the shot clock. Keep the ball.
You're going to watch a lot of tournaments on ESPN this week for Champ Week. Many of them don't have necessarily bid stealers. Anybody not named St. Mary's and Gonzaga is a bid stealer in this conference this year.
Yes. So all the bubble teams are rooting hard for the Gales, and they'll be rooting hard for the Zags later tonight. Another high-low pass. This time it was Saxon to Morauskas, so they went in reverse, and they draw another foul.
And that's the 5th foul already on Pepperdine. Keep an eye on that. You'll send the Gales to the free throw line a ton. But then what it also does is it softens up your defense, Dave. Now you can't be as aggressive.
Second foul against the sophomore Dovydas Budka, a Lithuanian native. So is the guy at the free throw line, Morauskas. So is Marciulionis, son of the great Šarūnas Marciulionis. So the Lithuanian pipeline into this West Coast Conference has become legit.
They had Lithuanian night.
They did.
How many schools have Lithuanian night in college basketball?
They did. They played the Lithuanian national anthem. They gave away T-shirts for a game this year.
They were super cool T-shirts, too. Kind of like that old tie-dye from the Olympics.
Yeah. I mean, lean into it. Celebrate your players. I think it made those guys feel a lot of pride for their home country.
Their home country should have a lot of pride in how they've played.
I think they do. We asked Augustus about his family staying up late to watch games. Odom hit the deck after making the pass. Shot no good. St. Mary's defense is starting to pick up the intensity. Morauskas, little contact on the 3, came up short, and now Odom's going to push tempo.
Really good job matching up in transition. I mean, Marciulionis getting Todorovic, that's not who he should be on. They're out of sorts as far as their matchups. You need help here.
Dozic draws a foul against Lewis.
So you got to recognize the mismatches, right? Good job by Pepperdine to do it, but St. Mary's has got to communicate a little bit better. Mitchell Saxon should have gone earlier there and double-teamed that and then switched out and allowed Mikey Lewis to get back to a guard.
Which doesn't happen very often. Number 1, Randy Bennett, just one of the great teachers of the game and defensive basketball in the sport. Number 2, Mitchell Saxon. He's the 2-time defensive player of the year in this conference. Dozic ends the 10-0 run for the Gales with a free throw.
And by the way, in case you're wondering, it's 3:30 in the morning in Lithuania right now.
Yeah, and maybe a normal game, Augustus told us, yeah, sometimes they stay up, sometimes they don't, sometimes they'll rewatch.
You think they set the alarm this morning?
I do. I think a semifinal game in a conference championship tournament, I think they're watching.
That's dedication.
We're going to pretend.
I'm not sure my family's watching.
And see, look what they got to see. That's a whole nother issue. We can work on that maybe a little later.
I'll talk that one off at Whole Foods tomorrow.
Augustus Marciulionis, just a special career at St. Mary's. Odom drives. Odom, count the basket plus a foul. Little hesitation from Gregory Nixon, the referee, whether that was going to count, and it does.
It was a 12-1 run until Odom was able to turn the corner. But Marciulionis is a special player with a special year. This team for St. Mary's good enough to be a second weekend team in the NCAA tournament. They have to find a way to slow down this guy, though, because he is flat out on one. He's got 12 early.
The bold Louisiana flavor and crispy crunch of Popeye's signature chicken is the meal your craving deserves. And now you can get 3 pieces for just $5 and make it a meal for only $3 more.
Chicken from Popeyes.
She's definitely taking advantage of the Grubhub deal from Amazon.
That's why I keep running into you.
Amazon Prime member? You can get $0 delivery fees on Grubhub. Eligible orders only. Terms and additional fees apply.
Target made up and up for you, helping you save on storage solutions with bags in all shapes and sizes. So everything has a home. Everyday favorites at unbeatable prices. We made up and up for you, only at Target.
Looking for Moana 2? You'll find it. Screaming March 12th on Disney+.
Boat snack.
I'm gonna need you to stop doing that.
Moana 2, rated PG, streaming March 12th on Disney+. And take advantage of a limited time offer.
Touches of black. They say a lot without having to say much. They stand for elegance, refinement, and prestige. Even a little can go a long way. And though they're darker than the darkest night, they make you see everything in a new light. The Kia X-Line Nightfall Collection.
Kia. Movement that inspires.
You should switch to 1-800-CONTACTS because
it's super easy, so cheap. I save shipping costs, I save doctor office visit fees.
1-800-CONTACTS always has my exact same brand in stock.
It was cheaper on 1-800-CONTACTS than actually going to the eye doctor.
It's the future. It's amazing.
1-800-CONTACTS.
Right now, you can save 30% on your first order, plus fast free shipping right to your door.
Let's go. A lot of people I'm just saying, like, that I never would.
It all starts right now.
Champ Week, and we're maybe officially halfway through, but there's so much basketball still to come across all our ESPN platforms, covering 27 conferences. Some of those tournaments are already wrapped up. 468 total games, almost 1,000 hours of college hoops. And if you watched every single hour of all that coverage, I dare you to find a guy playing better than Mo Odom is.
Can't do it. Not going to do it. I mean, he's been great.
They're great.
5 of 7, 12 points, 2 rebounds, an assist already here tonight. Got his hands full defensively with Augustus Marciulionis, who's also got 8 points, by the way.
Plus, he cleans up the court. There was a piece of like a pom-pom confetti. He picked it up, handed it to the official.
I liked his game when he was at Pacific. And when I went out and talked to him today before the game, he goes, you and I had a conversation. He told me about how I compete and how I play the game the right way. And I have never forgotten that. And, he's got such a maturity about him that it's a different kind of vibe when you talk to him. They go to the zone, by the way, here. Yeah. Change things up to try to disrupt St. Mary's. I like this. Not a great three-point shooting team. The guy that has the ball in the corner, he's the guy you have to tag. Mikey Lewis is the best three-point shooter on the floor.
Gets it back from Marciulionis and rushed it maybe, but ball comes to Morauskas, and that'll be free throws for Polis Morauskas.
5 offensive rebounds now for the Gales. It's what they do. And the shot goes up. They find a way to put themselves in a good position to get a second chance opportunity.
What's amazing about them, and we've watched them year after year do this, they offensive rebound, and yet they don't get burned in transition. They do both. I mean, a lot of teams that send guys to the glass, if you don't get that offensive rebound, you've become a little more vulnerable.
It's the details, right? It's the guards. Who goes to the glass is important, where they're positioned out on the floor. Then if you do not get it, there is a sense of urgency from everybody to get back and lock in your defensive stance. This is a defense that plays heavy in the gaps. They don't want to allow you to score in the paint.
That was a second foul against Koulibaly.
Ooh, that's a awkward shot pass.
In the world happened there? Foray. He hit the rim with his pass.
If it goes in, is that an assist and a made bucket?
Give him both. Just give him both. Marciulionis. Lewis had to save it in bounds. They are paying a lot of attention to Mikey Lewis.
I would too.
Saxon spin move. That was a tough move by the big man.
Mitchell Saxon, when he has his feet set underneath him, very good on balance. When sometimes his base gets narrow. That allowed him to spin with a little bit more control than some other times.
Odom working his way around this defense.
Marciulionis on Odom now, and you've just got to stay with him. It's no help defense off number 5. Make somebody else beat you.
Freshman Jackson Olvera, I agree with you.
Like, I would just say, hey, wherever 5 goes, you have to go with him. I don't care if he's standing at the bench. Go stand with him. Play 4-on-4 and make somebody else beat you.
We've sort of wondered that these last few nights, why that hasn't been a little bit more of the strategy. Really strong move by Morauskas. When he's aggressive and engaged on the offensive end, St. Mary's is a different kind of team. And this run gets extended. St. Mary's lead all the way up to 9.
They made 5 out of the last 7 shots that they've taken. Ed Schilling's got to find a defense that can disrupt the Gales.
She's definitely taking advantage of the Grubhub deal from Amazon.
That's why I keep running into you.
Amazon Prime member? You can get $0 delivery fees on Grubhub. Eligible orders only. Terms and additional fees apply.
The bold Louisiana flavor and crispy crunch of Popeye's signature chicken is the meal your craving deserves. And now you can get 3 pieces for just $5 and make it a meal for only $3 more.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
All right, so tomorrow the T. Rowe Price ACC men's tournament gets started. Number 1 seed Duke. Did you notice today, Sean, that for the first time in a long time, I didn't realize it'd been this long, that the Blue Devils were ranked number 1 in the AP poll that came out today. So they are not only the number 1 seed in the ACC tournament, they're the number 1 team in the country.
They've dominated the ACC all season long. Maybe the team to watch and the most intrigued will be that Wednesday matchup for North Carolina.
Yeah.
Carolina trying to play their way into the NCAA tournament. Only 1 quad 1 victory on the season. Not going to have an opportunity again in that tournament until they take on potentially Duke. Wake Forest needs to go on a run. SMU needs to go on a run. Like, remember the ACC last year, NC State, out of nowhere, wins the ACC tournament and gets into the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, we've seen it happen.
But it's going to take some sort of run like that, in particular for Wake and SMU.
Odom got beat off the dribble, and he fouled Marciulionis to prevent giving up the uncontested layup.
Quick early spurt. They took the lead. Now the Gales have found their rhythm. They talked about them trying to find their rhythm. Right after we had that conversation, at about the 12-minute mark, all of a sudden the Gales are starting to execute the way they want.
That's the second foul against Odom. That's big news.
You do wonder if the gas is going to run out of the tank.
Yeah, it would be, if it happens, and we'll see, but if it happens, it'd be hard to blame the Waves. This is their 4th game in 4 nights, all under championship season-ending pressure. They've played close games that have come right down to the end. That'll be an over the back on the missed free throw. It was 18-13 Pepperdine, and the Gales have gone on a big run since then.
Now, recognizing how they're playing Odom, I think you've got to put him in some ball screen coverage. Try to get him in a center on-ball screen and then allow them to see if they make the switch. Randy Bennett often switches. That would put Mitchell Saxon on Mo Odom. Ryan Odom is a great coach for VCU.
He is. He might have a different job soon. We'll see. Mo Odom. They kind of didn't. They acted like they were going to set a screen and then didn't do it. Bethea drives baseline right into Wessels. No whistle, no foul. St. Mary's ball.
WCC has had a great year,
They have. The best team, I think, in the A-10. Morauskas with 2 fouls on the bench for St. Mary's, so they got the 2 big man alignment out there again. Lewis hits Saxon, who just short-armed it, but I guess the reason he did was he got fouled. I guess.
Yeah. Let's see who they called the foul on.
Yeah, Pepperdine foul trouble is starting to be an issue. You pointed that out in the early minutes of this game, where even when St. Mary's was kind of struggling on offense early on, they were piling up fouls.
Mitchell Saxon does a lot of things well. Shooting free throws is not one of them.
He's made some big ones in his career, but he's now 0 for 3 in the first half of this game. Lewis out, Jordan Ross back in for St. Mary's. Made that one. I'll tell you one more thing about Pepperdine trying to unlock the offense. The other guy who's been there right with Odom is Todorovic. He's had a great tournament. And
he's only 2 of 7.
Yeah. They're going to need more from him.
Luke Barrett has done a good job defending him.
He'll drive, dish it. Shot blocked, but a foul against Wessels. That was Foray. He'll go to the free throw line.
I would give a lot more ball screens for Pepperdine at the offensive end. If they're going double big lineup, you have advantage with your guards. And look to get them in those on-ball screens and then attack them off the bounce.
So Alonzo Foray, grad transfer, first year at Pepperdine. You imagine he came up short. You imagine the year that these kids had, Sean. We mentioned the fires in Malibu, and what a incredible impact that had on the campus. The players couldn't get onto campus. They had to practice somewhere else. Classes canceled, students displaced. In a way, the community has come together in a really special way. But the adversity that this team has gone through all year long, I know this is just a basketball tournament, but that's a campus and a university that has needed an uplift, and these guys are giving it to them.
They are.
It's a cool thing.
And all of Southern California could use it. And those fires, it was apocalyptic when you watched them. And living in Southern California, it was very scary. And for these young men to be displaced and have their whole world turned upside down, they're representing their university with a great deal of pride with the fight and the resiliency that they're showing here.
Offensive rebounds for St. Mary's, dominating.
It wears you out, Dave. It wears you out. I mean, look, it would have been really easy for Pepperdine to come here. They were trailing by 14 in the second half, late to Portland, to just say, you know what, we're done. Instead, they fought, and they fought not only that night, then they fought on Friday, took care of business last night against a very good Santa Clara team.
Todorovic, man, you're right. Good defense by Luke Barrett.
He's been great. Like, there's the little things that Luke Barrett does, and he fulfills his role for what Randy Bennett needs. He's not a great scorer, but, man, he brings a resiliency to how they play. He's a scrapper.
Saxon grabs another offensive rebound. There were too many Gales there. It prevented him from getting a layup. Now Saxon will grab another one, and they're going to call him for a foul. St. Mary's fans not happy with that. A little smile on the face of Mitchell Saxon. The Gales down early, but the #1 seed asserting control this game, up by 10.
Ring, make it, ring, girl, make it.
Apartment 2B?
2B. She's definitely using that Grubhub deal from Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
Amazon Prime member? You can get $0 delivery fees on Grubhub. Eligible orders only. Terms and additional fees apply.
We asked people who said they've had Domino's stuffed crust pizza before to compare it to our new stuffed crust.
That's better than the one they have currently.
Only Domino's has never had stuffed crust before.
Are you serious?
Until now. Introducing Domino's new and first ever stuffed crust pizza. Try one for the first time tonight.
This is phenomenal.
The 49ers are releasing.
She's definitely taking advantage of the Grubhub deal from Amazon.
That's why I keep running into you.
Ring, make it, ring, girl, make it.
Amazon Prime member? You can get $0 delivery fees on Grubhub. Eligible orders only. Terms and additional fees apply.
The bold Louisiana flavor and crispy crunch of Popeye's signature chicken is the meal your craving deserves. And now you can get 3 pieces for just $5 and make it a meal for only $3 more.
Chicken from Popeyes.
I can get the exact same brand of contacts from 1-800-CONTACTS that I can get from my eye doctor.
Right now, you can save 25% on your first order, plus fast free shipping right to your door.
Touches of black. They say a lot without having to say much. They stand for elegance, refinement, and prestige. Even a little can go a long way. And though they're darker than the darkest night, they make you see everything in a new light. The Kia X-Line Nightfall Collection.
Kia, movement that inspires.
Listen, great question. I think a lot of people have been looking at the success that Randy Bennett has had. They've only gone to the Sweet 16 one time. That was back in the 2009-2010 season. This team has the makeup, and I will be honest, I think it'll be a disappointment if they don't make the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. I think they're Sweet 16 good.
It is what has differentiated Gonzaga's success over the last couple decades and St. Mary's. Because St. Mary's has won a ton of games in the regular season. They've won conference championships. They've beaten the Zags head-to-head. Gonzaga's gone to 9 straight Sweet 16s. And only one in the tenure of Randy Bennett. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not saying they've totally underachieved in the tournament. But that's why they're not viewed in the same way that Gonzaga is.
Last year, Joshua Jefferson was out with an injury. That hurt them.
It did.
The previous year, you're playing UConn, and they had the lead when Alex Dukas went out with a back injury. Now, I'm not saying they were going to knock off UConn. By any stretch, I'm not saying that. But they've been in position to get there. This is the team that is good enough and built to get there. And it goes back to what Coach was just talking about, imposing your will. And we've been mentioning this during the course of this game. Dave, 8 offensive rebounds, 12 total missed shots. That's a 67% offensive rebounding percentage. That's obscenely high, but it is who they are. They get a lot of offensive rebounds. Not at that clip. Nobody does. But a really good offensive rebounding team.
I think that does help you, don't you, in an NCAA tournament setting where even if you have an off-shooting game in a win-or-go-home situation, you can get those misses?
They have size, which a lot of teams don't have the size that St. Mary's does. They have experience. They have rebounders. The one thing they lack is floor spacers. Guys that can really knock down the perimeter shot outside of Mikey Lewis. That's the one area of concern that you have.
Yeah. And it might mean that a freshman, Mikey Lewis, who's never played in the NCAA tournament, is going to take an outsized responsibility for a run if the Gales are going to make it.
He also never played in the kennel. And then he did. And when he did, in the second half in particular, he was awesome.
Good point.
Awesome. So I don't think he's afraid of that big stage or that big light. Randy Bennett's got to look at him and say, okay, are you ready to go? And if he is, you got to let him ride. Because in the tournament, there's going to be a game where you're going to face somebody that is more athletic than you on the block, but has the same size. And so you need to be able to get somebody to knock down that perimeter shot.
Wessels, big man, who's a really good free throw shooter. He is a huge human being, Harry Wessels. Made 2 massive free throws down the stretch late in Moraga against Gonzaga. Those 2 free throws might have ended up winning the game for the Gales.
He's had little spurts of really good play.
He'll check out. No, he'll stay in. It'll be Saxon who checks out.
And Ashton Hardaway gets in, and he hasn't played a whole lot of minutes. But I think, you've got to read the room. You've got a 13-point lead, potentially another game tomorrow.
Winner of this game takes on the winner of Gonzaga, San Francisco. That's our second semifinal game coming up when we're finished with this one over on ESPN2. And San Francisco is kind of an amazing story, what they did last night in their tournament debut in the quarterfinals without Marcus Williams, who down the stretch has been their best player, has had a great San Francisco career. And eligibility concerns, he's not playing in this tournament. And so Ryan Beasley, who way less than 100%, had the best game of his career.
He was phenomenal. 29 points, 4 made three-pointers. He did a lot of things really well last night. They're going to need a rinse and repeat. And then Malik Thomas has got to be a lot more efficient. I loved his aggressiveness, but his efficiency last night, not good enough. Not against a team like Gonzaga that, since their loss to St. Mary's, has all of a sudden turned it on to a different level.
Yeah. Zags, nobody around the country, the Zags are under the radar right now.
The Cousy Award, named the top 5 point guards in the country. And the guy that's averaging 10 assists per game wasn't on it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but that's just a mistake.
If you haven't watched Ryan Nembhard this year and seen his ability to pass the ball, it's special.
In and out on the three for Barrett.
Him and Braden Smith have been the 2 best passing guards in the country.
I mean, Mark Few told us today, we've talked to him a lot this year about Ryan Nembhard and what he's meant to the Zags. Todorovic has just been hounded in this first half. Loose ball came to Odom.
Now, Odom's water's been turned off here, and that's been a huge problem for Pepperdine, and you have to credit Marshallonis.
Good pass from Odom, but his teammate Olvera rushed the shot, didn't finish.
Marshallonis is the WCC Player of the Year because of doing things like he's done here in the first 20 minutes. Odom gets going. Okay, I'll take him. And I'm just going to stay with him and make him uncomfortable.
That was a good little pass from Wessels to Hardaway, but Hardaway...
Good play by Marshallonis. Just, he read it perfectly and back-tapped it out of bounds. He knew he couldn't get it. So instead, he deflects this out of bounds, so at least they get to set their defense. Little things that make you a champion.
Yeah, he might be one of the smartest players in college basketball. And he's got a lot of talent to go along with those smarts. Tough three, no good. Ross got pushed by Olvera. Everybody rebounds for the Gales. Big men, guards. Jordan Ross will go shoot free throws at the other end. Final minute of this first half. Pepperdine was up 18-13. Mo Odom was cooking again, scoring, passing. And I think it was right about at that point that you pointed out that Marshallonis was ignoring everybody else on defense and basically was just going to lock in on Mo Odom, and he hasn't been much of a factor since then.
Hasn't attempted a shot. They've gotten him no space. Ed Schilling, frustrated on the sideline, just gave a big clap, walking down, trying to figure out the riddle. Coach, you're not the only one. I mean, everybody that's faced this St. Mary's team in conference play has tried to figure them out. Only one team beat them, and that was USF at home.
The only conference loss for the Gales. One thing, St. Mary's, it's a little bit of an Achilles heel. They are not a great free throw shooting team at times. And they've missed 7 free throws in this first half. Still up by 12.
Well, and that goes back to Jay Will's point. You want to make the second weekend of the tournament, you better make some free throws.
That's a good move and a much-needed basket for Pepperdine. Shot clock off. St. Mary's is going to hold for the final shot. Remember, Odom's got 2 fouls, so he does have to be careful here. Marshallonis attacks with the left hand. No. Rebound. Pepperdine just couldn't get a shot off, and that's how the first half comes to an end.